Happy Devils Wednesday! This is State of the Fan Address presented by PucksandPitchforks.com. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with the editor-in-chief of that fine website, Nick Villano, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, paying the premium on X Live, even though Nick Villano didn't like that business call, but I couldn't alienate those fans on Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network, on your live from the Primetime Radio Studios inside the bunker in an undisclosed location in beautiful North Jersey and South Jersey. Undisclosed locations, being very secretive, holding it close to the vest. As the Devils season is upon us, I'm wearing my Mets cap right now, Nick, for a reason, because I left watching the Mets game to do this fine programming. Didn't forget about my Devils hockey. Usually Devils hockey starts after the Mets are bounced out of contention of making the playoffs. But now I get the best of both worlds. Don't have to worry about my New York Football Giants. Feels good right now.
And that's the thing is that, we were talking before the air. I'm a diehard Yankees fan. The Yankees were my first sports love. Grew up watching the Yankees, from the time I was born. And, but the thing about the Yankees and the Mets rivalry is I don't feel like it's the rivalry it used to be. Right, I feel like, and maybe that's because I'm not a kid anymore, and that it's just as simple as that. Like, you care about these things more when you're a kid. I only hate Boston. Baltimore, okay. I have an affinity for the Rays because I lived in Tampa for so long and covered that team, but I understand that a lot of teams. Oh, and then I hate Houston, right? Because Houston, the way they won the World Series and knocked out the Yankees, and there's kind of all that went with that. The cheating scandal.
Well, yeah. The Yankees cheated in those World Series runs with Derek Jeter. Steroids?
Derek Jeter never got caught with steroids.
No, but the rest of his teammates did.
But like
Andy misremembered.
That is a literal.
Roger Clemens.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But that literally wasn't against the rules.
You make a good point.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like,
still cheating to me.
Sure, whatever. Like when
was it banned?
It wasn't against the rules.
When was it banned?
2004, 2005, somewhere in that range is when they put the 10-game suspension in, and that's when Paul Mero got caught. Maybe 2006, somewhere in that range. It was after all the Yankees World Series. Listen, if you want to call out the 2009 one because of A-Rod, okay, that's fine. Just because it was illegal then.
The only reason why they won it in 2009. The only reason why they won it in 2009 is because the old Yankee Stadium was still up and the ball traveled. The ball traveled.
Okay. Was there like a wind thing? I don't know this theory.
Yeah, it was actually, if I remember correctly, that there was some kind of physics to it where it was just dead air.
Okay.
As soon as that Yankee Stadium was demolished, which I don't think they should have ever demolished it. I think they should have spent more money trying to renovate that stadium. Iconic. I mean, I'm a Mets fan, and going into old Yankee Stadium, there was an aura about it. You don't have that aura anymore in the new Yankee Stadium.
The new stadium stinks.
Yeah.
It stinks. It stinks on ice. It doesn't help they got this version of Steinbrenner there.
Yeah.
It's just not. It is what it is. We don't have to get into this. The point I was making is I don't hate the Mets. They play in another division. They do their own thing. When we play the Mets, I want to beat them. But, like, I would gladly go to a Mets-Yankees game and not have any worries. If I go to a Yankees-Red Sox game, I'm like, somebody's going to try to fight me. And for no reason, like I'm not like you've been to games with me. I'm not a like I'm a, you know, I've more times than not I cover games as like a member of the. I don't want to call myself media, but like I get a media pass. You know what I mean? Like that's how I go and watch these games. So like I'm very muted in my cheering and stuff like that. Like I'll get into it like with the fans, you know, like things like that. But I I just feel like somebody's going to start with you, and I don't have the temperament to not be like you're an idiot. So, but with the Mets fans, I'm just like there's nothing that they could do unless they like poured a beer on me or something that I would like get angry at. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy
I'm a
for
fight
them
magnet.
when they win.
I am a fight magnet wherever I go. I don't even have to even do anything. I'm that big of a troll that I can go in street clothes to a Giants Eagles game or a Giants whatever game, and
Well, you start stupid chants.
no. Literally, I don't have to do anything. The fights always follow me. Like there was one time I went to a Giants Pittsburgh Steelers game in old Giants Stadium, right? And it was cold, so I just put on a normal jacket. The Giants sucked that year. I believe it was Eli Manning's first year. It's like, I just want to see Eli, and I was between two Steeler fans. And the Steeler fans were arguing over something about, Franco Harris or whatever. And here I am, the guy in the middle, and a fight breaks out between two Steeler fans in Giant Stadium, and I'm the one getting knocked around. And as soon as security comes, everyone's like, pointing, and then I'm being lifted, like this, if you see on the video screen, with two yellow, raincoat, NJSCA employees, and everyone's like, not him, those two. And it's two Steeler fans fighting each other. It happens all the time. Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because, the Giants fans and the Pittsburgh fans are like, no, this guy had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Do you know who I do hate, though?
Who?
Are those New York Rangers. The team that the Devils have been playing this week.
Of course.
And honestly, like, if you're a Rangers fan, you got to just be embarrassed, right? You lose one game to the Utica Comets, and then you sneak out with a win barely, with Kevin LeBlanc making your star goalie look average at best. Listen, like Kevin LeBlanc has looked really good. Maybe really is like, but he's looked good. He looks like an NHL player. So I do hope they sign him. I hope they give him a contract, and so there's a couple options the Devils can kind of use. They have enough money, I believe, to sign him to like a minimum deal and just be done with it. Like they have that kind of money. But the problem is that if you do that, that takes away from the money you can use at the trade deadline. Right. You got to see like how far along. But
I disagree. I disagree. Because he could be.
There's nothing to disagree with. That's a fact.
No, I disagree because if you're going to make a trade, usually you exchange salaries.
I mean, the Devils were literally like playing gymnastics last year to bank money to use during the trade deadline last year. Like you accrue money towards the trade deadline every day, based on who's on your salary, or maybe it's every game, but it's basically daily.
Can't you send them to the AHL and be done with it?
You could, which would severely lower his cap impact.
We're talking about 850,000 a year.
But you have, I think you have 950 or something like that, $950,000.
Yeah, you could bury that salary. Not worried
right,
about it.
And you could, and he would have to go through waivers, of course, but that I think he would make it. I think LeBlanc is a NHL player. I do. And I think you should at least give him that contract, a two-way, where you can kind of give, he can make a decent salary to play one way or the other. He's an easy guy to call up. You had veteran leadership to your AHL team. I know there's like a limit to the veterans you can have in the AHL lineup, which is insane to me. It's insane that you have a limit to how many veterans you can have in the AHL. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me why that rule exists, but it exists. So they have to kind of play the numbers there about how many veterans are already in the AHL. I think the Comets are close to the limit or at the limit. I'm not sure which one it is, but so they'd have to play around with that. But again, I just think LeBlanc has played really well, and like even beyond the 2 goals that he scored yesterday, which I was impressed by both. The one, it probably doesn't look impressive on paper, but to know that, I mean, you must have really loved this guy. I don't know if you saw it, but like he shoots the puck, and you see that Shesterkin doesn't save it cleanly. It hits off the edge of his gloves and falls right in front of him. One of the Rangers tries to clear it, but LeBlanc is rushing towards the net, and when the guy tries to clear it, it hits off his shoulder, goes in the net. I need guys like that who know the situation, and can put the puck in the net that way, and the impact that he could have. And we were talking about the lineup, just like we see the lineup now, right? We see how the lines are going to stack for that first game. They've been this way for about a week and a half now, and I'll be honest with you, I don't love the lineup. Like, it's not my favorite. It's not the lineup I would have put together. But it's the first night. I'm not going to lose my mind over the first night. Like, these things will change weekly, bi-weekly. You'll see new lines here and there. But when I see the impact that LeBlanc could have, I think he could replace a Nathan Bastian. Or I think he can even replace that's probably the name he would replace. Like, looking at the entire lineup. Like, I think he could do the same thing that Palat's doing in the regular season. I like Palat in the playoffs, but I think he could do Palat's job in the regular season, do at least 70% of what Palat's doing for minimum. And he's a guy who's had offensive prowess before and has a really good shot. Like, his shot is really good. This is why he scored. What did he score? He scored almost 30 one year, right? He scored like 28 or 29 one year. I'm not remember off the top of my head, but it was close. He had a really good season where he had 60 points. We would forget. It was just a couple years ago where he accepted like a $1.1 million deal, 1-year deal, to really help the Sharks out with the cap. And they're like, we'll get you next time. And they did. He had – this kind of shows you why you should never do this for a team. But, good on the Sharks for keeping their word, but he signed a $1.1 million deal when he probably should have been around like what Mercer was making right now, and had just a terrible season. And they gave him a crazy. They gave him like $6 million or something, and they had to buy him out. But LeBlanc is a guy who I think is an NHL player. I look at the Devils and their AHL team, and there's guys I'm like, you could, I guess, be an NHL player. Like Hallinan, I think, could be an NHL player from a forward standpoint. Hardman, maybe. Who's the other guy? Willman, had a cup of coffee in the NHL last year and was fine.
Remember,
you got guys like that, but like,
remember Gibbons?
I do remember Gibbons.
Yeah.
I liked Gibbons.
Yeah, I did too.
He couldn't sustain it, but he was very successful for like 6 weeks in the early part of that 2017-18 season. But yeah, he just kind of fell off and couldn't figure out like what exactly his role should have been. Here's the thing. I just don't think John Hines was a very good coach in New Jersey. Admittedly, didn't really pay attention to what he did in Nashville or what he's doing where's he, Minnesota now?
Yep.
It's not paying attention. Could care less. Or couldn't care less, right? Yeah, I couldn't care less. But when he was in New Jersey, I just don't think he was a very good coach. I just think he made the wrong moves a lot. I think he put so much pressure on his guys, and I think he's the reason why Taylor Hall got hurt. I think he overworked Taylor Hall. I think he put a lot of pressure on Taylor Hall and kind of like just ruined his time here. And John Hines comes from the Ray Sherrill School of Hard Knocks. Ray Sherrill is a guy who's known to be hard on his guys and have high expectations, and you can do that. This is the NHL. Like, it's fine to have high expectations, but you got to understand, like, who that works on and who that doesn't. Like, you have to be more of a fluid coach. I just don't think it was fluid. I think he had one way to do things. If it worked for you, then it worked for you. If it didn't, it didn't. And I just think, like, it's like the John Tortorella thing. Like, I think I got to commend John Tortorella for changing his entire system last year with the Flyers. He did a really good job, even though they kind of collapsed at the end there, like, just as the injuries piled up and the Carter Hart thing kind of spiraled out of control. So bringing it back to the point, I do think that LeBlanc should be an NHL player.
Well, I agree with that. But is he going to be on the Devils? I would give him a chance. I'd figure a way. Depth is important.
Is he better
right
than?
Now.
Yeah, I mean, with all the injuries too, you have a spot that they're currently giving to Nolan Foote, which, I mean, I'm gonna write. So we're not ready for plugs yet, but I'm going to plug one. There's going to be probably like 10 articles I write between now and the home opener. Not the Prague opener, and that's why this isn't the Devils season preview. That's going to be next week. We're going to give you an extended episode next week. Wait, right, Sam? I didn't run this by you, but I'm sure we want to do an extended episode next week.
That's going to be tough. I thought it was going to be today because I'm preparing for the big podcast on October 10th at American Whiskey, but we'll talk about that.
Okay. What day is October 10th? What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
Okay, so it's the next day. We'll talk about it. It's fine. We can even usurp the two, but we'll figure it out. You'll get some extra podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say the word, Sam. So just appreciate the fact that I didn't say the word.
What, the word content?
Oh, you're allowed to say it now?
No, oh my goodness. I was on a conference call at work, and it had nothing to do with what we do, whatever. It had to do with some write-ups and all that, and I was like, oh, I just want to just kill myself.
Listen, I will tell you this, and you be proud of me.
Yep.
We have what's basically the equivalent of a content creation team, and that's what a lot of people call them. At my job, I call them the storytelling team. Just
good for you. Has my philosophy like really made you think?
I mean, listen. I have you in the back of my head every time content comes up, so I try to avoid it just to because I don't want to mess up and say it in front of you.
Oh, by the way, I tried that hot turkey from Wawa, and I have a picture of it.
Okay,
I'll let you know at the end of the podcast. That's the teaser.
Oh, okay.
I'm
very excited it's back. The thing I'll say about hot turkey now is they are stingy with the portions now, when they used to be a lot less stingy. But it is what it is.
Well, as what Mrs. Wu always says, I enjoy being fat. So if Wawa's listening right now, I suggest, and I'm not going to give away my
your review.
My review of that hot turkey from Wawa, which I still think Wawa is like disgusting, unless they put some Benjamins in my pocket. That's a different story.
Yeah, we have a much better chance of getting sponsored by Wawa than Sheetz. So I think you just need to jump on the bandwagon and start the campaign.
You know what? Let me tell you something. My taste buds change very easily when I see my bank account that Wawa is depositing.
Put a little green on it, and then I'll think it's real good.
Oh, yeah. Those hoagies, whoo, they're great. Anyway,
I am curious of what your thought is about Seamus Casey making the team.
All right.
And them rewarding him.
All the rumors last season, okay, because a lot of trade scenarios within the Twitter sphere or the X Sphere and the media and all that always had Seamus Casey as a piece to that trade, right? Because he holds a lot of value.
Trades.
Yeah, holds a lot of value, potential. You see the glut D guys, which someone's going to take a little bit longer to recover, but we'll get to that soon. Seamus Casey should not go anywhere. And here are the reasons. Number one, right-handed D guys come at a premium eventually at a trade deadline somewhere down the line in any of careers. Like John Marino was traded, because of that. They're highly sought. These are assets if you want to,
Yeah, I mean, Marino came off a bad season and still got us, 2 second-round picks?
Yeah, and we flipped Ty Smith when we traded him to Pittsburgh. He was left-handed, but still got value back, right? So, but most importantly, he's a Jersey kid. And that's something, again, I think, the Devils missed out on John Carlson years ago. I believe they went with Tenenby, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it Joseph? I think it was Tenenby. They had their chance. He was still on the board. Yeah, he was still on the board. And now you've got a Jersey kid who did so well at the University of Michigan. And we've talked about this so many times, Nick, about the D with Nemitz and Hughes, and the future looks bright, and plus Dougie Hamilton long-term, and Siegenthaler practically long-term, even though I don't think he should be on the team, but whatever.
Are you talking about Siegenthaler or Hamilton?
Siegenthaler.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say Hamilton looks really good.
Yeah, but the point is, you asked for my opinion about Seamus Casey. He's not going anywhere. And I'll tell you, if Nemitz, Hughes, and Casey...
I think you're mistaken. I don't think Seamus Casey's from New Jersey.
Am I mistaken? Am I that big of a dumbass?
He was born in Florida and then moved to Detroit. He's a USA kid.
I thought he was from Jersey. I thought he was a New Jersey Devils fan.
He might be a Devils fan because he was born in Florida.
Jack Hughes was born in Florida. Did I miss something?
I'm looking all over. I don't see any reference to him living in New Jersey.
I thought he's from South Jersey.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of somebody else.
Am I that... YouTube Live, help me here. Did I get this so wrong? Who's the idiot here? Nick or me?
Listen, I was told there would be no fact checking. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's funny.
No politics. Sorry, I don't even.
No. That is funny. That's even though it's politics, it's still funny because it's neutral. I think having no fact checking is the dumbest thing I've. Yeah, but whatever.
Here's the thing. Here's what I like is that under Sheldon Keefe in his first year, they proved that a guy could earn his way on the roster. This roster is stacked from head to toe. And I've been on record on this podcast, I believe, but on Twitter and articles everywhere, I felt there was no chance Seamus Casey was making this roster. I just thought there was nothing. There was nothing he can do. Well, I didn't think of the injury gods who hurt Luke Hughes, Brett Pesce, and Santeri Hatakka, along with Tobias Villano, which, it's unfortunate that the Devils have this many injuries, truly. I think Hatakka Hataka. I forget his name but I think he's somebody who's good. I think he's a good defenseman right now. I think he's an NHL defenseman. At least the bottom pairing one right now. I think him and Nemitz would make a great pairing. But I'm curious. And was Casey with Nemitz this morning?
I don't know. I'm still reading up how I could get this thing so wrong. I can't find it. I can't find anything. I don't know where I read that. I thought I read that when he was drafted. Maybe I got somebody mixed up this entire time. I feel like an idiot. Anyway, go ahead.
It's okay, but it appears that Sheldon Keefe is alluding to Seamus Casey being in the starting lineup, making his NHL debut in Prague. And for those wondering, the 7-game thing doesn't matter. You can't, he's not eligible to slide his contract. So all those like rules that you hear about prospects, the 7-game rule, like he's not eligible for that. From what I understand, the rules are kind of complicated, but from what I understand, he's not eligible for that. So you don't have to play those games. He is paired with Nemitz. So the pairings right now are Dylan Hamilton, which I predicted, Siganthar Kovacevic, and Casey Nemitz. Then you got White and DeSimone as your extras. I was surprised they brought Dawes to Prague. But you know what they probably did, Sam, is Dawes had a stint in Germany, right? So they probably brought him there because he probably has a presence there. Probably has. See, there's no reason he's there, right? He'll have family or friends in the building. I feel like the Devils are the type of team to do this. And I do want to bring something up to you later, just on this podcast before we go, about goalies. But before we get into that, I'm looking at this lineup, and I teased this earlier. But here's the thing. Last thing on Casey's, I'm happy for the kid. I think it sends a really good message that he earned his way on this team. He'll be back in the AHL, whether that's when they get back from Prague or whether that's when Luke Hughes comes back. He'll be back in the AHL. He's clearly the most talented guy not on the NHL roster as far as defensemen go. So I think you're looking at it where let's get him a couple games right now. Maybe you even have him as an extra during, if the Devils make the playoffs. And you never know what's going to happen. You remember what the impact Luke Hughes had in that 2023 playoff, in that one Carolina game, right? He was really essential in that one win they had against Carolina. And what did they win? 8-4, I think is the score. So we'll see. But I do think you want to play it safe with him because you've learned your lesson with Will Butcher. You learned your lesson with Ty Smith. Like, this can go wrong very simply. But if he's an NHL player, make him an NHL player.
I got something for you.
Okay. Casey's second aunt lives in Williamsboro, New Jersey for 3.5 days. No, I'm just kidding.
Hoboken.
He lived in Hoboken?
No.
Or does he live in Hoboken?
He grew up in Florida, but I think both of his parents were from Jersey. Maybe that's
okay. So he's got Jersey roots.
At least there's something there because there's no way I can be that way off about him. So maybe I don't know. I gotta do more research. I apologize for. You know what? Okay. I think it was Ryan Novozinski. The headline: Seamus Casey has New Jersey roots. So okay. So that's where I probably got mixed up because I was probably reading the headline thinking, "Oh, he's from Jersey," but can't believe this whole time.
Listen, he watched some good Jersey Devils teams, so I'm sure he's happy to be here. We're happy to have him. I do want to kind of bloviate about the lineup. Can we talk about this real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Can we stop putting Timo Meier on the left wing? Like, stop. I truly don't get it because Jesper Brett's been good on the left. So why we put Jesper Brett on the right wing, and maybe it doesn't matter because maybe they'll switch spots if it doesn't work on the ice after the faceoff, whatever. But why are we doing this? And then you leave Heischer with Mercer and Tatar, which you'd look like you have one of the great top sixes if you just switched Mercer and Meyer, because then you got two stellar lines. Now you have one on paper stellar line that hasn't worked, and then a decent second line, above average second line. And then I'm looking at it, and I was doing some research. One of my writers, Sam, the other Sam, kind of opened my eyes that there's an issue with this third line, and it's speed. Nason's not a fast player, and the plot of today is not a fast player. And you got Eric Halla with basically no training camp. And Halla's not slow, but he's not fast either. Like he could turn on the Jets every so often, but And then you got a traditional fourth line in Cotter, Lazar, and Bastian, which I like Lazar and Cotter together. If you got Bastian from 2 years ago, this is going to be great. If you got Bastian from last year, he's not going to be in the lineup very long. And then I'm happy that they're not trying to pigeonhole McDermott into the lineup just for just to fight people, right? And you got to see when they play the Rangers, are you always going to play McDermott? And yeah, honestly, you got to even see if Matt Rempe makes that team. So, he was I just see how he plays on the ice. I'm just that's such a useless style of hockey today. It just truly is. When you're he could do so many different things, but he's just not focused. And why am I going to game plan for that? You know what I mean? Why am I going to change my lineup because you got basically a psychopath on the ice?
So the psychopath doesn't take out your player 6 months? That's why.
I mean, but McDermott didn't stop that.
Yeah, he did.
He was still headhunting the first game that McDermott and him went on. Yes, and then remember Rampy? He went headhunting. That's when he hit Siegenthaler, I think, right? And then McDermott tried to fight him, and he said no. So we didn't stop it. The only time it stopped it was when McDermott beat him up on the faceoff, and they both got kicked out.
I think you got your sequence wrong, but because of my Seamus Casey thing, I got to review it. I think I've gone mad.
Or maybe it was Bastian was the first one, right? Bastian was the first guy he hurt.
Yeah, Bastian, and then Siegenthaler tried to fight him. He got his butt kicked, and Rempe actually let up.
No, Siegenthaler was the one that was the heinous hit.
No. You don't remember the Bastian? The Bastian? Was it the Bastian?
Oh, yeah. Siegenthaler tried to fight him that night.
Yeah, that night. And Rempe threw a couple punches I can't do it. But eventually he got him.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason why Rempe kept on doing it was the Devils were a paper tiger at that point. Yeah. So who cared? It wasn't until he didn't answer the bell then, okay. He didn't do anything that night when you had that line brawl.
It still bothers me to this day that they didn't beat the Rangers once last year.
Who cares? As long as the Rangers don't win the cup, it doesn't matter.
I mean,
so you're telling me that you're getting more upset that the Devils don't beat the Rangers? To me, the end game is who's going to win the cup.
Okay, let me ask you this. Would you, in 2023, would you have rather what happened? You beat the Rangers in the first round and lose in the second round? Or would you have rather beaten the Capitals and the Hurricanes and lost in the championship round? Everything else still happens. You still don't make the playoffs last year, whatever. But what would you have rather happened?
Well, I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy the series, but at the end of the day, it's how far you can go.
So is that your answer? Your answer is you'd rather beat two teams you don't care about on the way to a Eastern Conference final and lose there? Or would you rather have the win over the Rangers
first
themselves?
off, that kind of question is kind of I don't know what the right word is. You can't predict this as it's happening.
But I'm telling you that it happened. Either one thing happened or the other thing happened. You have control. Pick one.
All right. No, I want to see my team go far. I don't care about that stuff.
No, I'd take the Rangers win 10 times. I'm not saying if you go to the Stanley Cup final, that's one thing. But my favorite run is the 2012 run, even though they lost, and it was so dramatic in the fact that they lost. I've never had more fun on a playoff run. Never. The amount of fun I had in 2012 was like beating the Rangers, beating the Flyers, the way that Panthers series went, coming back in the Stanley Cup final. I had so much fun. 2003 was a lot of fun too. Was 2003 the Senators series in the conference finals?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of fun in 2003. The Brodeur shutouts that he had and just the dominance that you saw from him.
True story. I had to make a choice, and I went with the family choice. I had 2 tickets to go to the Ottawa Devils Game 7 in Ottawa, Eastern Conference Finals. But that was the same time that my dad got 4 tickets for the Nets. I believe they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was against the Pistons or whatever. And I couldn't turn down my family to go to that. So that's how spoiled I was. I actually had 2 tickets to go, and I had to sell it face value to 2 Devils fans and went. And I wish I had gone.
Yeah, that run was just so fun too. 2003 was really fun. I was old enough to remember 95. I think it was
You make
7.
me feel old.
I'm trying to remember.
I was 16. I was 16.
Oh. I was 8, and then I was. So what that would make me? That would make me 13 for the 2000 series. No, I'm doing this wrong. It was 11 for the 2000 series, so I must have been 6 for 95. Sorry, math is hard. But still, I still remember aspects of that 95 team. But it just didn't seem as fun. I think it was because of the shortened season. There was a weird. It felt like, from what I remember, again, I was small, but I felt like there was a weird aura around the playoffs then. The Stanley Cup was a sweep. There was just something about it that was weird. But 2000 was great. 2003 was so much fun. But I love that 2012 series, beating the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Finals and probably taking away Henrik Lundqvist's best chance to win a Stanley Cup and the Rangers' best chance to win a Stanley Cup. And I know they made the Stanley Cup 2 years later. That 2012 team was better. That 2012 team was better than the 2014 team. And the Devils beat them. And we forget, after all of these things, that Flyers team was supposed to make it to the Stanley Cup. Everybody thought the Flyers were the Stanley Cup favorites after they beat the Penguins. And the Yankees sent Ilya Brizgalov back to the gulag. You know, that run was so much fun. So
Did you say the Yankees?
What?
I thought you said the Yankees and Brizgalov. Or maybe I misheard you. Anyway.
Yeah, no, the Flyers.
Okay.
I said the Penguins. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Friday. So the Devils are playing these very strange times. So 1 p.m. on Friday, right, and then 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Yep.
First of all, how are you watching, Sam? Are you streaming?
Streaming at work, just like I did with the
Okay.
Mets game, the doubleheader.
Yeah. I'm going to be doing the same thing. And then Saturday, cozying up. It's on MSG too, right? I saw NHL Network, but it's on MSG as well.
I don't know, Nick.
I'll double check. It's fine. Because I think they're there. I think like Danico and Spalding and Salvador and the new. Although maybe they're not. I don't know. Whatever. It's either on NHL Network or it's on MSG. I want to just send a warning out to Devils fans. Don't put too much on these two games. These two games truly mean only standings points. If they win 8-0 in both games, I'm going to be happy, but I'm not going to think that they're the Stanley Cup favorites. If they lose 3-2 and 4-1, I'm not going to think it's another lost season. These games only matter in standings points because A, the injuries, B, they're trying to get Sheldon Keefe's system hasn't gelled yet. Like that's very clear. I said this in the last podcast. I think it's going to be a rough October, but then I think it's going to be all worth it. I think it's all going to be all worth it in November, but I just think that it's going to take this team time to gel, and I think there's going to be losses some of the way. I think Lindy Ruff has put in a much easier system in Buffalo to try to get his guys up to speed quickly. I think Lindy Ruff is going to be motivated as heck to win these games. And I just truly don't think that motivation's there for the Devils to beat their old coach. I just don't think that they have that. Like, there's not hate there. Yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot going for the Sabres that aren't going for the Devils, and it's overseas. Like, it's just this weird situation. So don't put too much on this game.
Oh, well, you know what? I said that, I think about 4 or 5 months ago that, Lindy Ruff is going to get his revenge, and the Buffalo Sabres. I'm telling you, if Sheldon T. This is going to happen because I said this on the Sunday edition. I don't think this team is making the playoffs. I don't. Unless.
Have you seen the Metro?
I just don't. This team is fragile. They get hurt all the time. And it's going to happen again.
I mean,
I'm not saying they're not talented on paper, but I think things can
not
change.
talented on paper. Like these guys have been good on the ice. This isn't just like a bunch of draft picks.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm just sticking to it. Maybe it's because me as an individual has been screwed by the Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment Group for so long that you've only had really 2 winning seasons since they took over. And their entire model is predicated on getting a top 3 draft pick. Look at the Commanders. They tanked it. They got the 2nd overall. They're doing pretty well then. You look at the 76ers, same thing. Embiid, how many first overall picks they had in the NBA to the point where the commissioner had to step in. And
Right, but the problem was that they kept making the wrong pick.
No, the problem was they had some math analytic guru GM, and the Colangelos had to come in and fix the problem.
Yeah,
and then the Colangelos became a problem.
Right, Burner Colangelo over there.
Yeah.
The Sixers thing was weird. Like I'll admit that. Like that was just a very strange tactic, and like unfair to the fan base. And the Devils did a version of that, right? Like Shero did a rebuild, but it was one more traditional rebuild where it's like you just get guys to fill the roster and kind of like see who sticks. So you think they're going to be one of the 3 worst teams in the league?
To start, yes. Could they pivot somewhere down the line? Maybe. But I don't know.
I don't see where you're getting that.
Well, this is where I'm getting at. Maybe I'm just a player.
Preseason?
I'm not basing on. I'm just basing on one thing. And Scotty and I argued about this, and I kept my mouth shut. But this is my opinion only. Something with Fitzgerald saying that I didn't get dickheads on this team or whatever he was saying. And
I think that was a shot at McLeod.
I
think that they had a conversation, then McLeod did a lot of lying to get back on this team.
I didn't think of it that way, but don't blow my reasoning for it.
Sorry.
I am an advocate to have a dickhead on your team because it holds people accountable. Claude Lemieux was an example of that.
But you got McDermott. Like how? Isn't that exactly what he is?
Yeah,
you
but
got
McDermott doesn't have clout like Claude Lemieux does. I mean, you got to have like a Matthew Tkachuk. You need to have somebody.
I mean, Timo Meier played that role in the Rangers series.
Yeah, just one series, but Timo Meier's been fragile.
It was
himself.
the one series they won.
He's been fragile himself, like Swiss cheese.
I mean, his injury was weird last year. I'll give you that. Like it lingered forever. Like he came back and he was bad for like 2 months, and they kept blaming shoulder. So I'll give you that. But here's the good thing with Meier is that most of the time those guys get hurt, they come back hurt, and they're never the same. Meier finally got healthy and was a superstar for a month and a half. And
when the season didn't really count at that point.
I mean, I get it. I hear you. But it was better than him just having the injury all year and be like, I lost season because I'm injured. But you saw Meier get under the skin of Igor Shesterkin, get very much under the skin of Jacob Trouba to the point where he tried to decapitate him, and he got up. He took that hit, Sam, and he got right up.
Well, this is where it boils down to for me. Will the new acquisitions, Pesci, if he can play, Dylan, Cotter, if they will make an actual fundamental difference of
Nason's another guy that's trying to do that.
Yeah.
The new guys.
That has made this team tougher. It just seemed like the Devils up until that point were just a bunch of highly skilled nice guys for very long. You hit Jack Hughes.
Yeah, they try to skid around you.
Yeah.
So nobody was skidding through anybody.
Yeah. Hit Jack Hughes a couple times, nothing happens. Nico Hischier beat him up a couple times, nothing happens. Like no response.
I get you.
But, you get these guys for a reason. It all depends if they can, it's not just those guys. Do they have enough where they can play like that, all 20 guys out on the ice? Play with an edge.
I don't think any team has 20 guys like that.
No, but you look at the Panthers. You look at the
Sam
Panthers.
Bennett's not like, well.
No. You look at the Panthers. It all started with Matthew Tkachuk. When they made that trade, and it brought it to a whole new level. Some guys just makes everybody play better. Just
like even when you look at like the Lightning, when the Lightning were winning, like Stamkos isn't getting in guys' faces. You know what I mean? Like and Kucherov, Kucherov is kind of a dickhead, but did you say that? Was I supposed to bleep that?
It's all right because Tom
It's after
Fitzgerald has made that a common word.
Got it. Okay. And they had Andre Palat, who's on this team, and he doesn't play like that, and but they had guys who did play like that. They had guys that would get in your face, like Hedman, and I where I'm agreeing with you is you do need at least two stars, one on defense, one on offense, who's willing to do some tactics to make you think twice. It can't just be a McDermott. It can't. But I think they have. I do think that. I think the Devils got very and like.
Let me tell you this.
I'm not even going to say it because it's in bad taste now.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say something controversial.
Okay.
Do you know who's the most important player in Edmonton Oilers? It's Leon Draisaitl. He did a lot of things away from the play. Just all those little things.
Think if they traded McDavid, but kept Draisaitl, they'd be better than vice versa.
If anybody that traded Connor McDavid's not going to be as good.
Well, you just said that he's more important.
Yeah, but no. You're looking at it completely different, completely wrong. The question you asked, like, of course, if you traded Jack Hughes, of course your team's not going to be as good. What I'm saying is he's more important. I didn't say that McDavid sucked. I'm just saying that.
I think you misunderstood what I said, but that's okay. You just continue with your point.
McDavid is a skilled player, but I thought Draisaitl was more of a leader. He was blocking shots. He was sacrificing his body during the playoffs. McDavid was McDavid, but this guy was doing everything he could when the tide was turning and trying to nullify the Dallas Stars. It was actually Draisaitl that impressed me, not McDavid.
I'm going to ask you one thing, and then we can end the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think that Nico Hischier's face hurts him? Like when he makes the face every time, like he's pained. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Do you think that hurts his leadership or hurts his intimidation factor as the captain? Do you think that hurts at all? It's a dumb question, but I'm asking you.
No. It's not a dumb question because what I'm about to say is kind of related. Actually, I had a conversation with someone at work today about it. My old coach used to tell me perception is everything and body language matters as an athlete because your body language around your teammates, it's a big deal. When I see Nico Hischier doing that, is he really hurt? I'm sure he's hurt. He takes his hits. But at the same time, it seems like it seems like he's so beaten up that it gets me down, as a fan at least. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
I kind of, yeah. Yeah,
it almost shows like he's defeated whenever you see those camera shots of him like that.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I see a lot of people say that, and I was just curious what your opinion was on it. Well, we can do plugs. We're at that time. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Pucks and Pitchfork season preview. You wait for it all year long, and it is out and about. Sam, I think we had 20 writers for this one. 20!
Wow.
We have 20 active writers at pucksandpitchforks.com ahead of the season, ready to go. I brought some guys back. I've recruited some guys and gals. I've made it clear that if you want to write, I am the place for you to go. We have good SEO because I've built the site over years and years and years. But the Pucks and Pitchfork season preview, a few thousand words, you'll get 20 different Devils fan opinions. 20 on each topic, 5 different topics. People always have a lot of fun with it because it's quick hitters, it's simple, it's microwave news. It's great. You get to just kind of come in and come out and understand like how you get a nice overall look, right? Because it's not just my opinion on where's the Devils going to stand, what is my predictions, who's the breakout player, who's going to win an award, blah 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 blah. You get the entire picture of where the fan base is looking. It's like a polling, right? It's like a polling system. We took a bunch of people, and this is kind of where the pulse of the Devils fan is. So pucksypitchforks.com. We're gonna have a couple other pieces. We have a couple other pieces. Trey Matthews wrote about leadership today. We had Vinny Parisi has a piece out. Ginny Streeter has a piece out. Jack has a piece that's in my inbox. It's going to talk about the Rangers games that we just watched. We got a piece of Seamus Casey. Alex Chavancy has a piece on Seamus Casey on pucksandpitchforks.com.
I should read that since I don't know the guy.
I thought you didn't. I'm like, Chavancy's been on our podcast like 7 times.
I know him. Apparently I don't know Seamus Casey. I'm so embarrassed right now. I don't normally make mistakes like that.
And then I'm going to have season preview content from yours truly, myself. Oh, and I wrote about this. I wrote about the salary cap. Sorry, I just hit my mic. I wrote about the salary cap and the impact on the future Devils, and how it's going to impact Luke Hughes' next contract negotiation. And then, I'll have season preview content all the way until Thursday, October 10th.
How many freaking times do you have to say that word? Go ahead.
I'm tired now.
I know.
I told you the baby's teething. I see. This is why I don't say it at work, because I'm trying to break it out. But we said it like you said it. This is your fault. I'm blaming you.
All right.
I'm kidding. Plug your stuff.
All right. Well, go to joinourcrew.com. Joinourcrew.com. We'll be at American Whiskey October 10th at the big stage, weather permitting, for opening night. Also, Game Day Live and Devils After Dark. We'll be back October 4th and 5th. Programming note, Game Day Live going as scheduled 1 hour prior to the game. But Devils After Dark, a little different story. We'll go at its regular time around 10 p.m. Eastern on Friday, because Scotty happens to be in the recording studio with Offspring and Smashing Pumpkins for his
Ah.
I was like, well, excuse me, Mr. Moneybags from Beverly Hills. Scotty, a Sirius XM Liquid Metal in the Michael J. Fox Studios. And October 5th, we will have a regular Devils After Dark as well after the game. But the one on the 4th will be at 10 p.m. Eastern, so it's going to be a little delay because Scotty, these celebrities want the top producer at Sirius to be doing producing. So that's that. And then obviously October 10th at American Whiskey. Go to joinourcrew.com for more information. And, we'll have an Crew Brew at American Whiskey.
Oh, is that all season?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. I love that.
Yeah, and also my review about that Wawa hot turkey. I'll post it on my Twitter account at Primetime Sam Woo. Here's my review. I would not say that would be the last thing I would eat on earth before I got executed, got hit by a bus.
Okay.
I think Boston Markets is much better.
Does that even still exist? I used to love Boston Market mac and cheese.
Yeah, of course it exists. And I think it cost me like $12 or $13 with the cornbread, with that hot turkey bowl or whatever it was. So I give it between an 8 or an F. I give it a C- to a D+. And I'm not a picky eater. I eat anything. That's pathetic. I still think Wawa's disgusting. That's just me.
Sam, it literally could have tasted like $1 million restaurant, and you would have said it stunk. I know this. I know this about you.
Oh yeah,
you've been here a long time. You make an opinion and you stick by it, and that's
there's
admirable.
only one thing. Coincidentally, there's only one thing I actually enjoyed at Wawa that somebody got me was a grilled chicken salad and put a little Thousand Island on it, and I've had it probably 5 or 10 times. No, yeah, about 10 times actually, and it's very, very good. But that's the only thing that I found at Wawa that I like.
Hey, listen, we all have opinions. Some of them stink.
And I normally hate salads, so that's pretty interesting.
There you go.
Anyway.
But yeah, those are the plugs. We're excited for Friday.
Oh, I know. I'm not even prepared. I feel terrible. But I'm going to wing it.
Were you supposed to go to Prague?
Yeah, I was supposed to. I had my sights on it. And then a few things happened. And I was like, yeah, I can't go to Prague. I don't have enough vacation days. So, anyway, I want to thank all those tuning in to this podcast, dropping in, let's say 20 minutes. Going to go back and watch the Mets game and talk to Nick afterwards. But till next time, let's go Devils.